Hey guys, welcome back. This is a Civ 4 Beyond the Sword playthrough. I am Tanoy Sinha, and we are playing the Native American civilization on a Pangea map, looking for a good Emperor start here. And on the last segment, we had actually just finished bronze working, which popped copper near our city, and that's a big deal. So let's talk about the implications of that. We talked about 4 priorities in the last segment. Those 4 priorities in the early game are fundamental worker technologies, defense, strategic resources, and research. We took care of the first priority, the worker technologies, with mining. We already had agriculture from our civilization. And after mining, we decided to move into bronze working for defense because of the dog soldier. It's our unique unit, and we figured we might as well use it. And also, we can chop forests with bronze working, which we have a lot of around our city. So it seemed like the best technology, and lucky us, we actually revealed copper when we researched it. So that takes care of strategic resource as well. So now we can focus on research. The best way to get a research technology, we decided, was writing in the previous segment. But because we did so much with just 2 technologies, we can actually have some time to divert resources towards researching pottery. That will allow us to get some cottages up a bit sooner than normal, which hopefully will boost our economy a little bit more quickly in the mid-game. So that's going to present a pretty decent plan for us in terms of research. In terms of expansion, we need to think about getting settlers out. And we're kind of in a rough place there because of De Gaulle to our west and Willem van Orange to our north. They're directly competing with us for probably the best terrain that we've seen. This goes back to a bit of the problem with reconnaissance. Because our warrior can only move 1 turn, even though we were very focused in our exploration, we don't know what's to our east. So there could be good terrain out here, but we really can't make a decision based on that. So we have to go with what we know, which is this terrain up here, and that means that we need to push out a settler as soon as possible. So that's something to keep in mind. Just make sure that during recon you're doing everything you can to help you, because even if you do it perfectly, you still don't have perfect information. So now we're going to go ahead and settle up probably the northern city first, because it's got a really good set of grassland jungle, which combined with the corn and the gems will be a pretty decent commerce city. So let's talk about how we get a settler up there as soon as possible. The first thing we need to do is build an escort for the settler. That's going to be this warrior, and he'll come out in 2 turns. As soon as that warrior is done, we will go straight into a settler, and we will use the worker to sort of chop forests to push him out as quickly as possible. So that's going to be the game plan for the first settler, and he's going to go up north. Then we're going to need a second settler. We'll talk about that game plan as soon as the first settler is out. Hopefully he's going to go to the west and claim this 2 gold banana city right here. So all of these strategies are, of course, depending on the terrain to the east and whether or not our competitors can get cities out before we can. We're going to do everything we can to make sure our cities get done quickly, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. So, and we will need to come up with a plan for that situation, because it's pretty likely, actually. Settlers coming out in 15 turns, that's a bit misleading, because chopping forests will make it come out a little bit more quickly than that, a lot more quickly than that, actually. Now, I don't like chopping forests before mathematics because I'm eating a 10 hammer loss, but in this particular situation, it's just so important to get that settler out as soon as possible that it makes a lot of sense for us. We're going to go ahead and chop the grassland forest tile soon, because that's a tile that's attractive for a cottage. And then the next tile we'll chop is probably this Plains Hill, because a 4 hammer tile will be key in building for the next couple of turns out of that city for us. Looks like the east is a peninsula, and it's a peninsula of garbage terrain. So that's really unfortunate. A bunch of desert, there's probably tundra to the south, maybe some ice. A peninsula is nice, because you can't get threatened from this side by another civilization. But it's got two major problems. The first is that it's hard to make sure barbarians don't spawn there. So if we don't get some kind of scouting down here very quickly, barbarians will definitely spawn here, probably found a city here, and that's a problem for us. A quick note about this tile here, you can either chop the forest first and then build a mine, or just build the mine altogether. It seems like an obvious point, but in this case we need to chop first. If you build the mine, it'll take 7 turns to both provide the forest and get the mine in one go. That's after our settler comes out, so it doesn't help us. We actually need to chop the forest first so that the hammers go directly into this settler and build that settler as quickly as possible. So now we're going to do some more recon down to the south here. It looks like we have just ice around, and some people think ice isn't so bad because we can actually get some rare resources, things like furs, for example. But quite honestly, I would rather have a good city location over ice, like any day of the week. So I'm really not too excited about working this tundra terrain. We're going to prioritize growth in this city. We're going to grow to 3, and then after that we'll have a 4-hammer tile, 2 4-hammer tiles to work to get the dog soldier out as quickly as possible, and then we'll go directly into a settler. This settler is going to move north to kind of claim one of these city locations. We'll talk both about the city location and about how it's going to get up there. The first thing that's really difficult with escorting a settler is the settler has to move, but you can't let him go by himself because any unit can take out that settler for you. So even like a wolf, a stray barbarian unit, it's really a risk that you don't want to take with something that costs 100 hammers. But in certain situations, you need to push the settler out as quickly as possible. This is one of those situations, so you can use a couple of tricks to help you in that case. In this particular case, I'm going to have this warrior fog bust basically every tile around the possible path that my settler is going to take. That's going to help my settler move up to this location and shave a few turns off of that commute. And it's also going to keep him relatively safe because he will only touch tiles that are completely revealed and are not next to Fog of War. So this is not something that I would normally recommend in every playthrough, but in a situation where every turn matters, like the situation that we're in, it's something that you can do to hopefully get that city built before your competing civilization. The second thing we need to talk about is his city location. We're going to go ahead and settle here on this tile, which will claim the gems and the corn, and we're not going to worry about claiming the ivory. This is mainly because of its proximity to Willem van Orange. First, he's a creative leader, so it can be difficult to claim any tile from him. He's just got such a good creative border presence that it can be difficult to claim tiles that are right next to his cities. Second, it's going to push us into a situation where our close borders spark tensions with him. And that's going to kind of predispose our diplomacy with him. Ideally, we're going to wait to pick a diplomatic stand with this guy until after we get our cities up and running and some more defense. If we settle too close to him, he might force the issue and declare war before we're quite ready. So we're going to go ahead and not be greedy. We're going to take the gems corn tile and we're going to leave the ivory to him. If we really want that ivory tile, we'll go ahead and build some units and declare war on him in the mid-game. Now here's a situation here which we would like to go back west with our warrior, but we have a lion in the way. There's a 68% chance that we win this battle. So that seems pretty good, right? We could try to take out this lion and get some experience points. I think a lot of players would take this battle. It's a bad idea. If we lose this warrior, we lose one of the biggest benefits or one of the biggest assets we have towards fog busting in the south, and that's going to prevent so many more barbarians from spawning that it just doesn't make sense to put him at risk right now. I'm going to go ahead and move him away from the lion, and if we have to take a roundabout route away and find a more defensive tile for him to park on to engage with this lion, we'll do that. I'd much rather have him alive than trying to fend off lions on his own. In this particular case, I think it could be good to defend here, and hopefully that lion attacks us. If not, we'll just have to take the roundabout route around the lion. So And the settler's going to come up here without a hitch. Hopefully Willem Van Orange doesn't have a settler anywhere up here. It's just one more turn, and if in that one more turn nothing happens, it looks like we've gotten that city. And it looks like we got it. So that's good. That's a gamble that paid off for us. We're going to build a dog soldier first.